If you feel like your city keeps getting bigger, wider, and harder to cross, you're not imagining it. Urban sprawl is basically what happens when a city decides to expand like pizza dough. It stretches and stretches, and then suddenly your commute takes 3 hours and a half and your day is gone. You might say in Europe we have good public transportation, or in the US we have a lot of cars and highways. But in many large cities of the global south, it's not the case. It's like cities are allergic to staying compact. And today I take you to Cairo, Nairobi, Johannesburg, Jakarta, and Sao Paulo. 5 large cities where growth didn't just go up, it went horizontal at full speed, creating some of the world's most intense traffic congestion. Let's unpack why they sprawled and what it means for mobility.
I'm Hushman Masumi, it's Urban History.
Urban sprawl happens when cities expand horizontally faster than they grow in population. It's usually characterized by low density development, long distances between home, work, and services, car dependency, fragmented leapfrog growth, and informal or unplanned settlements far from the center. One researcher describes sprawl as a city that keeps growing but never learns portion control. In short, sprawl is distance, and distance is traffic. Before jumping into specific cities, here are some main engines of sprawl. Population growth faster than planning. Urbanizing too fast leads to expansion by necessity. Cheap peripheral land. People move outward because land is cheaper, but this also means commuting gets longer. Weak regulatory systems. If planning rules aren't enforced, cities grow where they want, not where they should. Housing shortages in urban core. When central housing is too expensive, families move outward. Car-centered infrastructure. Build more roads and sprawl follows. Highways are like invitations for cities to spread out. Now I talk a little bit about 5 case studies, the first of which is Cairo. Cairo is one of the most dramatic cases of sprawl anywhere. There are some numbers here for you. Cairo's metro area grew from 2.5 million people in 1950 to over 22 million people today. Its urban footprint expanded more than 6-fold since the 1970s. New satellite cities built in the desert like 6 of October, New Cairo, and Sheikh Zayed were planned for 6 million residents but now attract over 10 million. Cairo didn't just sprawl, it sprawled into the desert. Massive land is available, but services and transit lag behind. There have been also some traffic consequences. Average speed in peak hours is something between 10 and 12 kilometers per hour. Average one-way commute is 72 minutes. Cairo loses 4% of GDP to congestion, according to World Bank estimate. And here is the kicker. Most jobs are still in Old Cairo, but millions live far in the desert, creating a daily inbound flood of cars. It's like designing a city where everyone lives in one country and works in another. My next case is Nairobi. Nairobi's sprawl is shaped by a combination of colonial planning, fragmented land ownership, and rapid population growth. There are some numbers here. The population grew from 350,000 in 1963 to about 5.3 million today. Urban area expanded by over 500% since independence. Only 10% of the population lives near formal public transit corridors. Nairobi sprawled along highways leading to suburbs like Rongai, Kiambu, Syokimau, and Thika. And the traffic consequences. Average speed during rush hour is about 7 to 10 kilometers per hour. Some commuters spend 3 to 4 hours daily in matatus or cars. The notorious Mombasa Road can feel like a parking lot stretched across the savannah. Why? Because housing is far apart. Workplaces are centralized, and transit coverage is poor. This is the perfect recipe for gridlock. In Nairobi, I'll be there soon means I will be there when the universe allows it. The next is Johannesburg. Few people realize this, but Johannesburg has one of the lowest densities and widest footprints of any major city. Joburg covers around 2,500 square kilometers, which is larger than London, New York, and Singapore combined. Of course, these central cities. The density is 3,000 people per square kilometer compared to Paris at 21,000 people per square kilometer. Population has spread outward into huge suburbs like Santon, Soweto, Randburg, and Midrand. Why so spread out? Apartheid spatial planning forced racial segregation. White suburbs were large and low density. Black townships were far away and highways physically separated areas. The traffic consequences are car ownership is high, over 60% of households. Buses cover only 7% of trips. Minibus taxis carry 65% over long distances. Average commute time is about 59 minutes. The result? Joburg is a car city by design, not by accident. You can live in Johannesburg, but you will spend half your life trying to reach Johannesburg. Jakarta is one of the most sprawling megacities and one of the most flooded. Metro area population is about 35 million, the second largest on Earth. Urban footprint expanded more than 800% since 1970. Some districts are growing at 4% per year, and the city is sinking by up to 25 centimeters per year in parts. Jakarta sprawls outward because the center is overcrowded and land prices skyrocketed. People move into suburbs like Bekasi, Bogor, and Depok, forming Jabodetabek, which refers to a mega region. And the traffic consequences. Average commute is 1.5 to 2 hours each way. 70% of trips are made on motorcycles and informal buses. Congestion cost is about 4 to 5 billion US dollar annually. Jakarta is basically a horizontal megacity floating on a swamp served by a road network that cannot keep up. Urban planning here is like trying to build a sandcastle while the tide keeps coming in. And finally, Sao Paulo. This city is a strange hybrid. The city sprawls horizontally, but also shoots upward with high-rises. The metro population is about 22 million. Urban area spans over 8,000 square kilometers, one of the largest on Earth. The car ownership rate is 8.6 million private vehicles, more than many countries. The daily vehicle trips are about 156 million. The suburbs became massive commuter zones. The pre-pandemic Paulistanos spent about 3 hours per day in traffic. In 2014, Sao Paulo recorded a 344 kilometers long traffic jam, the longest ever measured. Sao Paulo traffic is so legendary that it deserves its own Olympic event, synchronized honking. Now let's zoom out. Despite different cultures, climates, and histories, these cities share 4 fundamental sprawl drivers. First, high population growth. Most grew from under 1 million to over 10 million within a single human lifetime. Limited affordable housing in the center, so people build or buy far out where land is cheaper. Lack of strong transit networks. Without metro lines or BRT corridors shaping growth, cities expand randomly. And finally, car-centric policies. Highway building fuels suburban development. Then sprawl is predictable. Cheap land plus weak planning plus population boom equals distance. And distance is traffic. Urban sprawl produces mobility headaches such as longer commutes. When homes and jobs are far apart, travel times explode. Congestion everywhere. More cars plus longer roads equals network that break down easily. Lack of transit viability. Low density means transit routes carry fewer passengers. Then lower revenue is resulted, and then fewer routes. And finally, there will be more cars. Higher emissions. Sprawl increases car dependency and therefore pollution. Social inequality. Peripheral residents pay more for transport and have less access to jobs. And finally, infrastructure costs. More roads, pipes, sewer lines, electricity. Sprawl makes cities expensive to maintain. Sprawl is not just inefficient, it's expensive, inequitable, and energy intensive. Perhaps you think why I explain urban sprawl again when many researchers have worked on urban and suburban sprawl in the past 40 years. I tell you why. The reason is urban sprawl looks different in Cairo than in Los Angeles. There are some reasons for this. Mortality dropped faster than infrastructure expanded. Homes are built informally without developers controlling form or density. Cars are aspirational and motorcycles are affordable. Planning institutions are underfunded. And finally, transit arrives late, sometimes decades after sprawl began. In many developing countries, planning chases sprawl rather than guiding it. It's like trying to catch a running cheetah with a bicycle. So what can we do to combat sprawl? Not eliminate it. That's impossible, but manage it. There can be some solutions for it. For example, build transit first. Transit-oriented development prevents leapfrog growth. Strengthen housing policies. Affordable central housing reduces outward pressure. Improve local services. If people can work and shop locally, trips shorten. Use BRT and metro as growth anchors. High-capacity corridors shape denser development. Formalize informal settlements. Stabilizing existing communities reduce outward expansion. And finally, tax vacant land, stop speculative land hoarding. Sprawl tells us that cities are growing faster than their systems. It says we need more housing, we need better transit, we need planning that works for humans, not cars. If we ignore that message, traffic keeps getting worse. If we listen, we can build cities that grow smarter, not just bigger. And remember, sprawl is like your city wearing an XXL t-shirt while still being a size medium. It's time to tailor it. And thanks for joining this episode. Next time, I will talk about the costs of commuting, time, money, and inequality in developing countries. Stay tuned and stay patient in traffic.